Well, hello everyone. There seems to be a couple of people who have actually heard our call to action to come join our live stream of this recording of the Great Bears of Westeros. We're at episode number 23, and it's really good to be back in this format. We have our beautiful, delightful, bearded, and almost wizard-like in his skills regarding these things, Mr. Buzz Andreas Alderin. So good to have him back. You probably won't hear him unless he decides to just jump in and take over. But we have another esteemed panelist who is usually one of the frequent participants. One would almost say you're one of the hosts. Is that correct, Jacob?
One could say that. It might be the truth. It might be a lie. Nobody really knows. But it is what it is.
You're here every week.
I'm here.
And also every other week.
Sometimes people want me here. It's very rare, but I'm still here.
That's great. So have you been fine lately?
I've been absolutely great lately. My beard has been growing, and I've been thinking about thinning out the lines, sorting out my trash, and finalizing my beard structure, but it hasn't happened yet, so it's a bit wild.
Oh, I thought you were saying you were thinking about getting a second beard, and I was starting to
how
picture.
Do you do that?
I don't know. I was my mind was reeling with the possibilities. I'm sure there's some way to get a second beard, and I want to know if any of you listeners know how to get a second beard and what that actually means. Then please let us know.
I think you can have a beard and a neck beard. That might be it.
Yeah, like the guy on the regionals playmats from this year, the guy with the 360 beard.
Yeah, he has a 360
That's almost
beard.
Like he's got beard all around.
Yeah.
But hey, we've got a guest this week.
Oh, finally!
Are you excited?
I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm psyched. Give a warm welcome to Mr. Victor Edström. Hello, Victor.
Hello.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I wonder how many people now hear your voice and start looking for cards on their screen and players' hands and stuff like that.
This is possible.
Yeah.
This could happen, and if you out there find yourself doing this, it's probably natural. You shouldn't be ashamed.
Don't be. It's a natural response because I know some of you are probably scrambling to get back, look through old show notes and see who is this guy. Has he been on the show before? But fret not. You have heard his voice on this channel several times, multiple times. Victor, can you tell us a little about yourself and when did you break out on the golden voice actor scene?
So I bet I did some commentary for our Uppsala channel on YouTube for a while. Me and the other guys in the Uppsala Meta did our own recordings of virtually every tournament we held for the first few years up here in Uppsala, and then we put them on YouTube on our own channel. So we did commentary for that. Boss helped me a bit with some pointers mainly in the beginning, and then last year at Varberg I ended up in the commentator's sofa mostly by chance, I think. And this huge bloke from Ireland sitting next to me, and that was fun. Turned out that we had more fun than probably anyone else in the room, and ever since he's been on me, I'd say regularly, about we had to do this again, and we had. I mean, it was a calling. I think it was in our faith to be there this year again, commentating Varberg.
Mm.
So yeah, that's where you probably know me from.
Yeah, What was it like? I mean, when you did commentary for your own YouTube channel, and when you did commentary last year, it was like last year was like you came in. I think you maybe started at the like after the cut or something because you were obviously playing the Swiss rounds last year.
Yeah. So me and Ben sat down. I think neither of us made the cut, and then we sat down and started. Andreas Buss asked us to do some commentary, and he just asked us if we mind doing it, and we did, and we just ran with it. I think it's important to notice that in my mind, when I was doing this more seriously for the YouTube channel, my role was always to be the play-by-play commentator, and then I'd have experts like Tim Josefsson from Uppsala to analyze, and I thought that Ben was about as good at the game as he's big, and he is, but that's not at all how it panned out. So it turned into mainly the sort of things that you would hear on Great Beards of Westeros rather than actual commentary. We would just be more silly, I think, than anything else.
You probably mean silly, very insightful, charming. And,
yeah, that sort of silly.
Yes, and almost hauntingly. I'm looking for the words here, but I can't really find words that fit the description. Sorry, but yeah. So before we move on, I just want to, because I know from a bit behind the scenes that Ben was he wouldn't take no for an answer. I don't know if you ever considered a full out no, I'm not doing it, but he was very eager to get this thing going. How was going from we're gonna do the cut to basically we're gonna park our behinds on comfy chair this year and just go run with it for the whole weekend?
Yeah, it started almost immediately after last Varberg. Just a month later or so, he started, like, I have this idea. He came at me and he said, next year, why don't we skip playing altogether? And I was like, well, you're going to have to travel from Ireland and you're going to travel all the way to Sweden and not play? You sure about that? And he was like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And I'm like, well, I live quite a bit off from Varberg. It's quite a travel for me as well. I think I might want to play some. And he was like, no, you're not going to play anything. I mean, he's a big bloke and I'm really small. I'm really tiny. And so he'd persist all throughout the year. We met a couple of times in Starlek, and we met at Euros in Birmingham, and he'd lean over me like, we're going to do this, and I'm like, yeah, sure. And I mean, for all it's worth, I do enjoy commentating a lot. I do enjoy my voice, and in Ben, I think I've found a person that enjoys talking almost as much as I do. So we do really make for a team. I don't think we make for a good team in the sense that everyone else might be all that happy about it, but we really enjoy talking to each other. So, and we bicker and we fight about things, and it's just, we have that, chemistry where it's all fun. And as a lot of people in the chat was pointing out throughout, we weren't paying that much attention to the actual games going on all the time, and often we were quite clueless to what was going on in the actual games. But I mean, we talked. We had fun.
Yeah, you sure did. And I mean, I got to pop in since I was organizing the thing. I didn't get to play either, and just popping into the commentators booth sometimes, just sitting down, listening in on what was going on. It was just hilarious, and it was good to see. You seem to enjoy yourself just as much as anyone who was there playing. So that's all great. Yeah, excellent. So we have a couple of topics to pick up today in this episode, and before we do that, we're going to kick off our beautiful intro music. And if if everything goes correctly, I think Buzz will make sure that you who are watching live right now will get to hear it as well. Get going, Buzz.
And hopefully we're back. So this is, for those of you who just popped into the channel, this is Great Beards of Westeros episode 23. And it's an episode packed with lots of fun stuff for all the kids out there, with or without beards. We have, for those of you who haven't listened before the intro, we have Victor Edström as our very special guest today. You might have heard it previously on this channel from commentating Varberg Morgulis last weekend, and now you hear him again as a special guest on the Great Beards. He is definitely qualified to be on this episode of the Great Beards, since he's been growing his beard quite a lot lately, I hear.
I'm sort of off and on. Like last week's episode of Great Beards of Westeros, it was really, it did a number on me. When you took out those bear matrices, it's been a rough week, actually. A week of self-realization and a week of contemplating other important things in life.
Have you been sleeping anything at
Not
all?
that much, no. It's been, I've been plotting things on the graph, and it's led to deeper things. Like immediately, I knew I was in the intentional beard category. Whenever I do grow a beard, and I often do, it's always intentionally, obviously. But I came to realize that I might just have to say it right out. I have a dishonorable beard. I think I have to come clean and admit that this beard, it's dishonorable.
Let's just say it takes a lot of courage, Victor, to just come out like this on live stream and on recording.
I was going to say that you're in a safe zone, but you're not. Because we're live. People hear this.
Yeah. So just a quick recap for those of you who weren't able to catch last week's episode, or maybe you're still in rapid succession plowing your way through our backlog of episodes. You haven't come to last week's yet. We did reveal our new scientific graph for measuring and evaluating your beard, where you plot your beard on two different axes, where one goes from intentional to unintentional, and from honest to dishonest, or honorable and dishonorable. Those terms are interchangeable. And let's say that the last week, this thing has just been exploding in the scientific beard community. It's almost we've been getting. I mean, Jakob he had to cancel a conference in Las Vegas because there was just too much. He had to delete his email account and burn his post box. And he also
I threw out my fax machine.
Yeah, you did.
I received so many hate fax messages throughout the week.
It's been insane. But I realized for you, Victor, it was something a bit of a moment of reflection to see.
Deeply personal.
Yeah.
Deeply personal. definitely.
So that's for the recap. Yeah, I'll let you go on with what you were saying here. You found yourself on a bit of a maybe not where you wanted.
No,
on the
I
path.
I had to go back and think about my life, and I realized that this bit, and I think you've touched upon this earlier in many episodes ago, but there's a lot of beer envy in my life, and I realize that it comes from my relationship to one of my younger brothers, my closest younger brother. Who has a magnificent beard. Maybe we can get a picture of my brother's beard up here somehow. Is it possible?
Everything's possible with the help of Buzz.
I think we have an image, and my younger brother's 4 years younger than me, and he's been able to grow a magnificent beard, as you can see. And he's been able to do this since he was maybe 17, 18 years old. And at that time I was 22 and I could hardly have anything vaguely resembling hair growth at all in my face. And even today, this beard, it's not, I can't have it that full and thick that he can. And as much as I love his beard, and I've been the first person to support his beard. I've even forced him at an early stage when he was looking for a house. I volunteered to get him a house, or actually an apartment, on the condition that he could stay there as long as his beard was at least a centimeter long. And whenever, if it wasn't, and we had, like, the landlord was a friend of mine, would actually measure his beard every month in order for him to keep the flat. So that's the lengths I've been willing to go to in order to make that glorious beard be there for everyone to enjoy. But I realized there's also there's envy in this as well. Obviously,
it's pretty amazing story you're telling here. I mean, we appreciate the honesty, really, and it's a struggle for a lot of families, where the siblings have different beard growths, and
not all families are blessed like yours.
That's absolutely true. It is.
Yeah, especially like you see your younger brother, especially at such an early stage. They say the early beard gets the worm. You're probably familiar with the saying.
Of course.
So, but I'm impressed by the way, and also, I mean, what you experienced could have led to, maybe bitterness or. It could have been something that would have created distance between you and your brother. But instead, you step up as the older brother and instead take responsibility in a way that I think is really impressive by caring for him, getting a place to stay. Tough love, indeed. Getting him in a place to stay, but doing it on the condition that he keeps growing that beard and learning to take responsibility, because as we know, with great beards come great responsibility.
Always.
So how it's a bit of a sensitive question, but how often have you used your little brother's beard to your own advantage? Have you ever used pictures of him saying that it was you to come into different places?
It just doesn't work. We do look a little bit like each other, but not nowhere near close enough for me to be able to pass myself off as him or the other way around. So I'm relieved to say that I have not ever been dishonest, but I do feel that my beard is dishonorable in the sense that it is shamefully riddled with envy. Yeah.
But there's a paradox of being honest with your dishonesty. I can almost see visually your beard moving across this axis today. going from dishonesty and dishonor to a more honorable and more honest state. And I'm sure if not if, but when your brother tunes into this, he will. I bet his heart will be full of with joy and admiration, and he will look up to you and probably see you in a wholly different light. I mean, I know my little brother is full of envy for
every
me.
day.
But he's honest about it. I mean, I get texts every day from Jacob, telling me how envious he is about everything. But I try to, I admire him for that honesty, and I want to commend him for that, and try to point out his the strengths that he has, the talents, though not many, but to encourage what little he possesses.
This
Sorry.
Yeah, this became fairly deep.
This is emotional. This is emotional.
And we'll get to one of the episodes where we can talk about you, Samuel. I promise. Maybe that will be the 25th episode. We can
Who knows?
Speak about you and your feelings.
Who knows?
So, what more, Victor? Do you like? Can you, for people who don't know you, now we know a little bit more about you and your family, your beard growth. You've told us a little bit about your meta. That you've been recording. Can you tell us a little bit more about your relationship to the game that we're all very obsessed with?
Yeah, I started playing, I guess, a little bit past mid first edition, but purely as a board game almost. Me and my friends bought the core sets and started trying to get all the backlog of cycles, but we always played Melee, and we played it more or less like a board game, but it was also one of our favorite games. We played it a lot, and we deck builded for Melee format mostly, and very much thematically, and sometimes Shaga style decks, but mostly very Nedley and thematically built around keywords and traits rather, and we really enjoyed it. And then once it was announced that they were going to cancel first edition, I felt, because I was playing several other LCGs competitively. I played both Conquest and Netrunner at that point competitively, but I felt a little bit like there weren't any people in Uppsala at that time playing Thrones. So once they cancelled it, I started looking more. I had to play some competitively, and I found the Stockholm meta, and I came down for a store championship, I think, in the early spring, late winter, and that was just completely eye-opening to me. Not only all the LCGs have terrific metas, like they're groups of people that are wonderful playing all of these games, just crazy good. But once I got down to Dragon's Lair in Stockholm, and I met all these people that had driven for 5 hours from Varberg to get there in that morning, and just for a store championship, it was a different level, like a completely different level of warmth and welcoming, and just showing up there by my own, and the way I was embraced immediately. It was just something I don't think I've seen in any other game, and I really I understood I had to be a part of this, and from then on I've been trying to play competitively and Joust, and as soon as 2.0 came about, I got most of the other guys. Well, I didn't get, like, everyone was pretty much aboard anyway, but all the people that were playing Conquest and they were playing Star Wars LCG, they were here in Uppsala were really eager to join in 2.0 of Game of Thrones, and now we have a really competitive meta up here. some of the really, really good players coming up from 2.0. We have Johan Larsson, made top 4 in Varberg, and we've got Tim Josefsson, who's won a bunch of different things. Most notably, I'd say he won the Stockholm Regional this year. And
yourself, you've also been winning.
Yeah, I've taken a few store championships. I've got top 10 in the Champions of Westeros League last winter. So I've been doing okay. I haven't got anything really big to my name yet, but. Yeah.
But it's kind of, I mean, on a serious note, it's kind of I really like, since I love the Shagga plays, but at core I'm a Jamie player. I really like the tournament setting and playing and in a in a serious tournament. Even though I love the jank too, it's kind of cool to see that you've done the travel from playing pure Shagga decks, pure Nedley combo thematic decks in a melee setting, which I love too, but it's considered by many players to be the less competitive format of the game. Yeah. Falsely maybe, but still, you've made the travel to like compete in Joust and to build decks with your metamates, with the Swedish meta for the big tournaments, actually winning some stuff. I mean, I think that's it's a good travel to do, and it's cool to see.
Yeah. I still think of myself as primarily a melee player. I do better at melee, both in Starlek and now at the Euros. The Nordics. I did considerably better at melee than I do in Joust, but I still love Joust. It's just and like you say, like playing Jamie, it's what I've always done in other games, and I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. You were touching on Varberg Morghulis. I think before we move on to, we got some exciting stuff to reveal to our listeners and viewers today. But I just want to touch a little bit more on Varberg. We got it from the commentary side, your experience, Victor. Maybe, Jakob, do you want to just pitch in and give us a little, just a quick recap of the weekend? There's a sub-comment thread somewhere on the EGOT group on Facebook where I did a quick recap, but could you help out here? Just for those of our listeners who weren't there, who didn't follow Victor and Ben's amazing commentary, what is Varberg? What makes it good or bad from your experience?
So Varberg is the Swedish Road to Starlek event of the year. It happens around this time of the year every year, and it brings all of the Swedish meta together. Nearly. We miss some people from the northern parts of Sweden for this tournament, but in general, it brings most of the people together for this big clash of a weekend with lots of fun. We started off with a first edition draft cube on Friday for the people who arrived early. Some people managed to build awesome decks. You yourself, Samuel, managed to build an awful deck.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It was so good, but it was horrible to play against. And we did some streaming on this channel for that too. And I think there might be some archive done on the YouTube channel for you people who want to have a look at that and see the miserable feelings of people losing in first edition.
Yeah,
it's real. But that was fun. We had some food. People arrived to play at first player, prepare their Joust decks for the Saturday, for the main event. And so Saturday came and we played the Swiss, followed by the top 8 during that day, all commentated and produced on this amazing channel by Victor and Ben and also by Buzz. It was super cool, and people, if you haven't looked at the videos, you should. It's I'm proud to say that it's the best produced material for Thrones out there. You can't find anything better. It's super good. I think it beats the world commentating even. It's cool.
Once we do pay attention to the games, maybe.
Well, at least you know that Plunder is not a bad card.
Right.
So that was that. It was followed by some board gaming on the evening of that Saturday. People stayed around. There was a chapter pack review done in this channel, made by the Brits with guests. It was. I think people had fun during that day, and following that, we had the Sunday, which was the top 4 in the finals, and also the side events, which was a version of the Hand of the King from first edition, called the Lord of Light. And you pretty much had a Joust deck, but you added Beric Dondarrion as a sideboard guy who jumped in during the game, and there was a secondary win condition that you needed to fulfill, which was to have more Kiss tokens on your Beric than your opponents. And I hear people, it was mainly good reviews. People liked it. It might need some tweaking, but I think people had fun. And one of the main things for Varberg this year, for me at least, was that all of the events were taken down by Swedes, which I think is a first.
I think so too, yes.
So I had a blast during the weekend. I hear people had too. We had the most participants ever.
Yep.
And we had super. The prize support was amazing too. I think people had fun.
I think so too. That's what we are hearing, and it's always. It's fun. We had a bunch of new attendants. We had some who have been previously here, but who wasn't able to come. And but what's really encouraging is what kind of, as an organizer, I see from an organizer standpoint, it's fun when you see people coming back, because that kind of means that hopefully we're doing something right, and I hope so. And we are trying to improve year by year. And as long as people have a good time and we can improve upon the experience, then it's all good. So big thank you to everyone who came. Thank you to everyone who jumped online and interacted with Ben and Victor on the Twitch stream. Just a big thank you. It's fun. So Andreas is apparently super eager to get us going to the next part of this episode, which is spoilers. It's spoiler season, everyone. As you may see, whenever you go online, you will see spoilers for things that can be spoiled, and we don't want to be worse. And thank you to the mothership at Fantasy Flight Games for providing us with a couple of exclusives that we share with you here today. So who want to kick this off? Jakob, will you introduce the first one, or should we give Victor the honor?
I can do that. Do you want to do the big beard or the small beard?
The big beard or the small beard?
Let's start with the small beard.
Sure.
So we're talking about an event that is going to be released in the upcoming deluxe box, which is centered around House Tyrell.
Finally.
It's called House of Thorns, I think.
Yes.
And it's going to be released sometime late October. That's what we hear, at least.
Yep.
And the first card that we've got to spoil is an event. It's a neutral one, and it's called Words Are Wind. It's a 0-cost event, and it has a text that says, interrupt. When the effects of an opponent's event would initiate, that opponent must choose either cancel those effects or you draw 2 cards.
Yep.
So you play this as a cancel if your opponent chooses to. If he or she does not, you draw 2 cards.
Yes. So we are going to have to comment on the art, obviously, But just some brief commentary on the card itself and the effects. It's a zero cost event, neutral. So we are putting this one head to head to Hand's Judgment, I guess. But the versatility of it is really interesting. I mean, your opponent can choose to not let the cancel effect go through. So it's not a guaranteed cancel. But if they choose to, you can instead draw 2 cards, which in certain situations might be, I mean, obviously could be a win-win. So what do you think? If you compare this to Hand's Judgment, is it going to be, which will you pick? The good thing is that you can, for example, you cancel a big 2-cost, what's it called? Revenge for Ilya, something like that. And your opponent doesn't want to cancel that. And instead you get 2 cards.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the effect, but I'm sort of torn between if I like it as a replacement to cancel effects, or if I'm just super pumped about this in a future Darkwings Dark Words deck, maybe. Like, because obviously if your opponent wants to push through that Dracarys, that Vengeance for Ilya, that Tears of Lys, or whatever it is that he or she is doing, she will. And if she does, then, I mean, you will draw. It's basically a cycle 1+1 card. So you will. It's a 1 card advantage card, which is not super good, but I think you can mess with this card quite a lot. I think it'll mess with, I mean, I really like playing things that makes your opponent choose and make the decision of how the outcome will go. It's not a bad card. It's a super fun card, although I'm just not sure where to put it yet. What do you think, Victor?
I mean, like you say, I think if you put it in your deck, you have to consider it as a card draw, but it's very conditional as such. Because you can't ever have it draw you cards when just whenever you need them. And you can't really count on it ever cancelling that event that you really want cancelled either. So I think it might fit in the Darkwings Dark Words deck. Oh, sorry, Dark Words Dark Wings. No,
you're correct.
You were right.
For first time. Yeah. because you could really put your opponent on the spot with it. But yeah, like you say, I don't see where it's at right now. There are better options for card draw right now that you can trigger more reliably.
Yeah.
But this costs 0, and that's interesting in itself.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
I mean, in
giving
any
your
kind of
opponents,
combo deck.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are things that I just can't think of right now that this will be good in. But I feel like this is a future card. I feel like this card is going to be one of those cards that, just like Brandon's Gift, or maybe you won't build your deck around this card, but this card will be something that's going to be really good in the future, like in Darkwings Dark Words, where you pretty much have one of each event card that you can find, and then whenever you play that event you will draw a card, and then this will actually draw you 3 cards.
2 more. And it essentially, I think it will have its place in any deck where you look to slim down the deck, because like you said, it replaces itself, and any deck that really just would like to play maybe 30 cards or 40 cards, you have to find these kinds of cards to put in there. Yeah,
I can see this going combo decks probably. Where you just don't care about your opponent's events, you just want to see more cards.
Right.
And yes, this will probably be there. It looks really like nothing, but this can probably be an engine for something.
Like during an Annals turn, this will draw you, and it won't cost you anything, and you just pump it out there, and it will be another thing to mess with for your opponent. It will give you another option.
The The thing about it is, obviously, when you compare to a hand judgment, is that you can't guarantee that it goes through.
No.
However, I also like that we are getting options of, your opponent is playing, say, a 2-cost event. They're playing their Vengeance Relay or something, and they are waiting to, they're looking at your gold pool. You have nothing there. You have this card, which will enable you to at least force your opponent to, okay, I'm not going to let you cancel it, but you're going to get 2 cards instead, which is a good thing. We have other options that have shown up in later packs, like we have the give Ryan his money card. The Iron Bank will have its due, which you can use to kind of mess with what your opponent is expecting. You have a card that is, I'm not expecting this one to be canceled because you don't have any gold, but I can do stuff that messes with that anyway. So as much as I don't want to see us get, just a blanket 0-cost cancel, because I like the way events actually cost gold, and you can kind of predict in some ways what will happen. I like that we're at least getting options now of messing with our opponents and doing things that are a bit unexpected. You can't just look at the gold pool and guarantee that your event will go through, because some things might mess those things up. So I like this one. Gonna need some testing, and probably, like you say, probably finds its way better in a certain combo decks than others, and maybe not as just a blanket replacement for Hand Judgment, but we'll see what happens. I guess the meta will jump on this one and dissect it, and we will get tons of commentary on how this is a bad card, and you should never play it because we have better cancel spells in the game.
I think most people are focused on deck slots, and there's a lot of people have trouble making the deck slots, like fitting their deck to 60, 61 cards, whatever they're playing.
Yeah.
And everyone is looking what more they could put in rather than focusing their decks. And that's what's happening right now. I think we're moving towards more combo decks. And those decks, they have the opposite view. They try to avoid getting, they would rather play less cards with the right impact, and that's where this card comes in.
Absolutely. So we need to talk about this art. It's a beautiful piece of art on the surface. There's nice lighting. I like when you can see how sort of says something about the artist when they can sort of do this this nice faded light in the background and working with different light sources. It's a beautiful art. I think it's Daenerys sitting on a box.
It's a shoe box.
Who knows what's in there? It's maybe all her shoes. Yeah, or her dragons. Maybe.
Or she's just playing some really nice folky tunes on it, like a drum box.
Oh yeah,
that might be a cajon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be a guy with a banjo in the background that just behind her that we can't see.
Yeah. Can't wait for the alternate art for this one.
Yeah. Hard to call at this point.
Get the banjo. Words are wind. So we need to talk about this guy's facial hair. At the surface, it looks like, well, that's a nice beard. But then you kind of look at it closer, and it looks like he's doing the kind of a reverse 80s rat tail thing. But
does he have a knot in his beard?
I think so.
Has he like some sort of rubber band in it?
Yeah, probably a rubber band. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of when your beard is growing longer and you don't know what to do with it. So you try to maybe hide your unintentional beard growth in a dishonest rubber band knot. Yeah. Which is obviously, I know, you know, stepping in front of the queen, you got to do better than that, I think.
This is a good example of a beard that is not being treated really well, I think. This is a dishonest beard.
Daenerys does not look impressed.
No. I'm picturing, you know, this guy, they're obviously, you know, they're looking for a banjo player to the band. And he's probably more used to doing Pearl Jam covers.
Yeah.
And that's not going to work here in Meereen, I think. Sorry, man. You're out of luck.
Yeah.
And he's kind of begging. Give me a
and
chance.
that's-
I do some mad power chords.
I think that's what she means with words I win. You come
Yeah.
here before me, talking about power chords or great riffs that you can play on your mandolin, but where are the bluegrass actual picking coming from? And your words I win.
That's true.
Yeah.
Totally.
Great art. Great art.
Capturing the essence of what's going on here.
Yeah. Words are blowing in the wind.
Indeed.
They are.
Should we move on to the next card?
Oh, definitely. This is exciting. So the next one is it's a big dude, right?
It's a big dude.
And he's doing some weird things in this picture. Let's talk about this one. This is a maester, right? And not any maester. It's a unique maester. He's called Archmaester Ebros. That's a pretty cool name. I mean, if I could have picked a new name, I'd be Ebros. Hey man, I'm Ebros.
Hey man, I'm Ebros.
He's a neutral character. He costs 5. He's going to cost you 5 gold to drop on the board, but he gives you 2 icons, 1 intrigue and 1 power. He's got 3 strength, and he, like I said, he has the maester trait. And some very weird things is going on in the artwork, so I'm going to focus on the text box for a moment. He has an action that says kneel a maester character to choose and stand another maester character. Limit once per phase. Kneel A. You don't have to kneel Archmaester Ebros to do this. You can kneel a maester to stand another maester, but limit once per phase. So, are we doing the same setup as the last card? Let's talk a little bit about what this one does and what potential combos we can find, what use. Because this is a combo card, obviously. This doesn't work on its own. You need things to support this guy and his effect. You need more maesters, basically. So, what's your opinion?
Yeah.
Do you want to kick us off, Victor? Do you have any thoughts?
Right now, obviously you could probably use him for I think the only maester that you kneel as an action rather than a reaction to trigger his ability, it's Baratheon, right?
Crescent?
He's the only one I can think of. The other maesters are not. I mean, because kneeling a maester to stand a maester to attack with that maester makes little sense. Like, I guess Pycelle, especially if you're playing some weird thing with patch face where you've made Pycelle into a fool and you're borrowing the insight but like, just more plainly, Crescent is the one that has his own ability that requires him to kneel. That is an action rather than a reaction where you could use this, because you can't use it with Aemon and you stand him and save another guy, because there's no action window within the reaction, obviously, of saving something, or it's an interrupt even. So yeah, they have to release some more maesters to make this interesting, right? Mm-hmm. And at 5 cost, 3 strength.
Yeah, he's an expensive dude, and for that effect, I'm thinking we're probably gonna see him getting into his own when we get the Conclave agenda, where we can run a couple of different maesters. There's a few other. I just did a quick search on Thrones DB. There's a couple of other maesters that are getting actions like this as well. You could You could do things probably out of Martel with the Maester of Starfall. He has a challenge action. We can kneel him to get a character to lose keyword.
Yeah.
And then you could do things with Maester Calliot to have him participate maybe in both Intrigue and Power Challenge and get your opponents to lose challenge icons. A bit janky for this kind of thing. I don't think it's going to be a huge hit, but yeah, there might be things see.
Then Loomis as well, I guess.
Yeah,
well, sure.
It's a bit of a stretch, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I mean, but one thing also is, I mean, we've seen the Conclave agenda. We know what it does. It's been in one of the previews of the House of Thorns, where basically it says that after you win a challenge in which you control a participating Maester character, choose one card under the agenda and switch it with the top card of your deck. So obviously you don't want to do that twice if you cannot for any reason draw that card. But we also get a Maester in the House of Thorns box that we've seen that is called the Citadel Novice, which is a non-unique Maester character that says after it is knelt, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is an attachment or a Maester character, draw it. Limit once per round. So I mean, it sort of goes well with whatever they are doing, but I can't seem to find the power in the combo.
For 5.
Really? For 5? I mean,
5, yes.
We need some first edition Maester chains to make him worth playing, I think.
Yeah. I mean, considering what you get for, he doesn't have any keywords, and what you're getting for a 5-drop is kind of expecting more than that. I could see maybe for a 4-drop or something, but this is, I don't know. But maybe in a super Maester focused deck where you want, you want a good icon spread, you want maybe a big dude, you don't have to use him. I mean, you can use a House Maester or you can use the Citadel Novice, which is going to get you different things, but it's the same thing there. Citadel Novice, well, it's a reaction of getting knelt, so you get 2 effects out of it. So yeah, I don't know. Currently, not super exciting, but we'll see what happens when we get the Conclave.
Yeah,
I mean, we haven't seen the full box yet. There might be other things that will be just crazy.
Sure.
I think that they're making him weak because he might be broken. But the problem with this sort of thing is that making him cost a lot and giving him very low strength and no keywords, it doesn't make it so that he won't be played. Once that combo is there, it's going to be broken anyway. So it's this way of trying to balance the card, it's not going to work, I think. You should, rather than balancing out a very strong effect in this manner, you should make the effect more reasonable.
Yeah,
sure. So yeah, we'll see. So we're not super excited about him yet, but I think for those of you who build decks around the way cards look, I mean, this guy is super crazy. I mean,
this is a centerpiece.
Yeah, I could see him in a, he's a super good complement to a patch face Voltron deck because they both look absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Artemis
He's
Ebros,
also,
he's wearing a mask. He went to some really, eyes wide shut thing. He just got on his robe after doing who knows what. He comes out with a book and maybe a flute.
Maybe a flute.
Most likely a flute.
Yes. Might be auditioning for Daenerys' new band. But I'm saying good luck with getting a flute in a bluegrass band. But hey, what I know.
I mean, I'm imagining him walking just into the courtyard, the courtroom where Daenerys and the lightly bearded fellow is sitting, and they're, playing together, and he's just late to the party, and it's like, hey guys, you've got the flute, I've got the notes here, these are the sheets for the song that we're playing, you're playing it all wrong. I also brought a mask.
Yeah.
It all goes very well together.
If we want to get a glimpse into this guy's personality, I think the flavor text, which is a quote from Armen, the acolyte, could give us a bit of insight into this guy's personality. I'm quoting Arman here. Morn will be upon us sooner than we'd like, and Archmaester Ebros will be speaking on the properties of urine. Those who mean to forge a silver link would do well not to miss his talk. Okay, so that's this guy. He's going to give a talk about urine.
Yeah. He's
makes a lot
super
of
into
sense.
that.
Yeah.
He seems into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
In various manners, I can imagine.
I think the mask is protective gear as he's doing his research because there's a lot of splatter and splash. So it's all about protecting his forehead from.
That might be so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you know if the attachment that comes in the box, Strangler, does it also go together with that theme?
Maybe. But I'm thinking like this is one of the most powerful beards we've seen on any art in 2.0, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
Sure.
But one has to wonder, when you wield such a magnificent beard, why do you choose to protect the upper part of your head rather than your magnificent beard?
It might be that he is actually that the beard is too strong to look at, so he's trying to cover his face so that he won't accidentally look at it when he looks down.
He's protecting his face from his beard.
Yeah. Or the other way around. He's protecting his beard from his face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm also thinking that the mask is it might be, who knows, it might be Valyrian steel, and that might have beard deterring properties. So maybe he's wearing the mask to avoid his beard from completely overtaking his face. That's another option. We know very little about these things in George R. R. Martin's world. We got a comment on the Twitch in the Twitch chat about if there's an attachment coming that gives the Maester trait, then I think Maester Ebros and his urine talks will be quite powerful indeed. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. That was just another comment on the. I was getting drawn into his beard, so I felt we had to take a step back there.
Can we agree that his name is actually pronounced Archmaester Ebros?
Yeah, I was skeptical. I was
kneeling his
skeptical.
bros to stand another bro.
Yeah, I was skeptical at first, but I'm kind of warming to the thought. Let's say that.
Yeah.
I'll just be quiet on this one then.
Yeah, sit this
I'll
one
sit
out.
this one out.
Yeah, sure thing.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
It just hit me. It's a creative mind.
Yeah. So those are the spoilers. We'll be posting them in pixel form on various interweb channels later. But this is for you guys guys and girls who are listening to the live show now. Before we kind of move on and start rounding things off with a few short pieces here, there was a question. I'm going to throw that out to you two guys. We got a question here from a listener. May I ask what have interested you in the subject of beards? Which is, I want to hear your take, because I might go into very deep philosophical issues otherwise.
Yeah, it's quite easy. I was born.
That's
Wow.
good. It's a good one. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't put it any better. Than that. So, good one, Victor.
I just have to agree, but I also have to add that I'm scared to look at myself without it. I mean, to me, it's something that is my identity.
Yes, it's beautiful. So there you have it. That's why we're so interested in it, because it is life itself, and it's about identity, and it is about the Game of Thrones, the card game. So that's it. before we kind of round things off, we're almost clocking in at the 1 hour mark here, so it's a really nice even number. I'm going to we have a favorite part that's back for this week, and it's a beard product of the week. And for this one, we're going locally. We're going to just around the corner from where I'm sitting, basically. This is a Mr. Bear Family limited edition box. It's a beautiful silvery box. If you remove the paper sleeve, kind of, you have a very nice box. You could actually, if you open it and take out the inner content, you could probably use this one as a box for at least one Joust deck and tokens. So it's really nice. Probably not intentional, but in this box, it's not empty. You get one bottle of beard brew, which is basically a beard oil, and you get a matching beard balm with the same scent. And when I open the lid of this one, there's a beautiful tropical scent that takes me to the shores of Nysar and of maybe the Summer Isles. I want to go there, go on a boat with Salvador San, visit the Summer Isles, have a maybe pina colada, and scratch my beard. So this is the products of the week. Beautiful. And do we have anything to add?
I don't think so.
No, not really.
No?
I think you only have one thing to add.
Oh, for sure. Remember, dear listeners, this is very important to be mindful about. You have to make sure that you wax your beautiful tips, and that you tip your beautiful waitresses, or your ugly tips and your ugly waitresses. We're not partial. We're all creatures of Rolor.
Wax everything, tip everything.
Yes. Enjoy life. Enjoy beards. Victor, thank you for being here. You have been a most wonderful guest. Looking forward to have you on again in the not so far future. Thank you very much. Okay, Buzz, will you send us off with running the intro music once or twice? And we say goodbye.
Which is also the outro music.
It is. Bye, everyone.